y'all? Welcome to my channel. So today I will be sharing some spiritual gems that I have reclaimed again in this lifetime, and to share the wisdom and insight that in my spirit, in my soul, I know has evolved me and set me free level by level of all the things that my soul came here to learn on this earth. Let's get right into it. It can be so easy to feel disconnected from ourselves, right? A lot of times at different stages in our life, we can feel lost, unsure of ourselves, unsure of the life that we lead and the company that we keep. It's so easy to feel like you have it all, yet feel unfulfilled. And that has to be the heaviest feeling, or at least one of the heaviest feelings to experience, because it says that with all the worldly things that you can acquire, you can still be left empty. And for me, I feel this journey, this lifetime for me has been of a spiritual sense in every way, in every form possible. And there's so much that our spirit already knows. You know, to be of the divine, you are the world. Everything in it, outside of it, and in between. So we are not without the knowledge that we need to have a fulfilling life. It's all about our ability to access that. And depending on our upbringing, if we didn't have elders to initiate us and to lead us and guide us into the way of a life that is balanced, not in just its worldly gestures, but in its spiritual sense as well, to know that there is a balance, there has to be a balance. To go into this world just searching for all things physical, right? Everything that's materialistic, while it could be a luxurious and fun life, no doubt, but if it's without a balance within its spiritual sense, meaning is your spiritual self of luxury? If not, all that you acquire may never feel that whole. It may always feel like a void until we attend to our spiritual selves. It needs to be fed. And so here are some gems that I've acquired that have been feeding me. The first is, you are separate from your inner critic. For so long, my inner critic has been beating you know what I mean? Just really leaning into it. And all this time, I thought my inner critic was me, right? Truth is, our inner critic is everything that's of this world that we've heard and learned over time. Sometimes our inner critic is our parent, maybe both parents, maybe it's an aunt, maybe it's your friend group or that teacher that really stuck in your mind. Our inner critic can be all of the things that tells us we're not enough, we're not good enough, we're not capable. It could really beat us down, and we take that as fact. We take that as our truth and we believe it, not realizing that our inner critic is separate from us, that we can observe those thoughts and not acquire them as truth. And when I learned this, this changed the game. This changed the game, because all this time I've been taking order, I've been taking criticism, I've been taking truth from my inner critic, and it's been crippling me. Not realizing that my inner critic isn't telling the truth, you know? And for so long I believed my inner critic to be this horrible thing. So changing my perspective about my inner critic has been huge on my spiritual journey. Now I'm able to look at my inner critic with compassion, right? I understand the job of my inner critic. Our inner critic is here just to protect us in its own cruel way, right? It's there because it wants to keep you safe. Your inner critic wants to make sure you don't get hurt, wants to make sure you're safe, simply put. And so by acknowledging the work of the inner critic, we can attune it to a more healthier relationship, right? So for me, it's if I hear my inner critic go off like, wow, you did that really horribly. Instead, to myself, I think, okay, is there something I could improve on? Me just accepting that I did something horribly is not going to faze me. I'm not going to take that as truth. What is horribly, right? Let's talk about ways to grow. Let's talk about ways to improve. And then everything else in between, all of that mean language that my inner critic usually likes to use, I dismiss it. Because that's not my truth. I know I'm not going for real talk about myself in that way. So to accept it from my inner critic no longer resonates with me, because I'm like, no, truthfully, I would speak to myself as I would to my best friend. I mean, I fucks with myself heavy. Like, I'm not going to just be disrespectful to myself. And that's something you can take on for yourself as well, is to know, like, remember that you are on your side. So any other voice that sounds against you, that's not you. Separate yourself from that inner critic. Next one is lacking self-compassion will keep you feeling broken, regardless of how self-aware you are. Oh my goodness. You can be the most self-aware person, being able to identify when and how or where you were wrong, being able to identify your faults and your insecurities and all of that. And that's beautiful. Being self-aware is a very necessary component. But if you lack self-compassion, you will always feel broken. You will always feel in lack. You will always feel like the things that you are so easily identifying with.
Message.
Being able to give yourself compassion allows you to transmute that energy. It allows you to transform from what you were to what you want to be. It takes self-compassion though. Being cruel to yourself, being only about the things that are wrong about you will not elevate you. And in fact, it could be the very thing that's perpetuating the hurt, is because you think by validating your wrongs, your insecurities, you think by being self-aware of those that you're uplifting yourself. And yes, but if you don't counter that with self-compassion of, I accept you there. I accept that was what I did, and I accept myself before, during, and after. And I believe wholeheartedly that where I am now is not or will not be my forever state, you know? And it's being able to give yourself that self-compassion and not just that harsh reality of all the things you are not. There has to be a balance in order for you to truly heal and transmute stagnant energy, right? So the next one is creation and intention are your alchemy. They are two of the ingredients needed to transform your emotional state, your spiritual state, your physical state. Know that your ability to create and your magnitude of intention has the capability to transform anything. Anything. And knowing that if you set your intention and you pour an essence over it, and what I mean by this, and it's so easy for talks like this to sound like fairy dust, right? Because it's like, what is intention? Intention is you being firm in what it is you believe in, and declaring it as so. It's conviction, really. Think of all the times that someone has spoken over your life, regardless if it was true, but it was their conviction that made you believe in it, right? Think of the things that you believe about yourself now. Are they things that you convicted into your life, or was it spoken over you by someone else and it just morphed into your belief because of how they said it, right? Did they give you this impression that what they say is law? You have that same capability. You have that same power to speak of something with such vigor that you give it life. Know that you are a life giver by what you speak. So how you talk about yourself, how you talk about your life, how you think of yourself, as simple as oh, I'm stupid, man, I shouldn't have done that. Those little incidents add up over time, and it doesn't even seem like it impacts you, but it does. It's a tax to your spirit. It taxes you emotionally over time. And so really acknowledge your ability to convey a thing, your ability to speak with conviction. That in turn is your intention, right? That's what it means to be intentful. What life do you give to this thing? What life do you give to this narrative of yourself? That is so important. You are the sole life giver to your life. Meaning at the end of the day, while there can be a support system that pours into you and comes in when maybe you can't do it for yourself, right? Ultimately, it is your voice, it's your conviction that drives the overall belief in your life. So make it count. Be intentional. The next one is your consciousness only knows what you tell it. So this goes along with what I just said about intention, right? Being intentional about the words you use when you speak of yourself, when you talk about your life, making sure that what you pour into your consciousness, when it gets to flowing around in your subconscious, it doesn't come up as a boogeyman. It doesn't come up as a dark spot, right? Meaning, if you constantly speak of love, right? It doesn't mean that your life is easy and always grand and Cheerios, right? But if you're intentional with seeing that this life of yours is of love, you're a vibration of the divine experiencing a human experience. You are made of love, regardless of what this world tries to tell you or show you. And being able to lead in that fashion and to know that regardless of what comes in my way, regardless of what happens, I am of love and I am safe in my being, and I know that I am worthy. I know I am of the divine. By imparting this into or onto your consciousness, that's your life driver, if you will, right? Meaning when things come at you that are meant to hurt you, meant to break you down, your consciousness is there supporting you with the program that you put in, which is, I'm of the divine, baby. I'm protected. I am good. Do you hear me? Like, I'm always suited with whatever I need to live a fulfilled life.
Can the church say amen?
I'm of God. And that, to have that as your consciousness, programmed into your consciousness, it allows you to navigate life differently, right? When people try to project onto you, it helps you not to take things so personal. It helps you to see that, hold on, I'm of the divine, I'm of light, I'm of love, and this person isn't projecting love right now. They're projecting pain, they're projecting disappointment, and I don't see how this really aligns with me, and in fact, it doesn't even resonate with me, and I'm able to see that because my consciousness is programmed to know the difference between myself and of the world, right? So I say all that to say, like, be intentional about how you program your consciousness. And you do that by what you tell yourself, the narrative that you create for yourself. And lastly of this video, because there's going to be more, like, there's so many gems I want to share with you guys. So, like, not by any means is this all that I can share. So if this is something you're feeling, let me know, and we'll keep chopping it up and we'll keep sharing. The last one is, if everyone is a mirror, be the placid water that knows its own depth. So this being so much in align with the other points that I brought up, right? Knowing yourself, when the world is reflecting back to you, you can easily identify what's of the world and what's of you. And that's so important, especially on a journey of healing, on a journey of returning back to yourself. It can be so easy to be covered of worldly debris. It's so easy to take on the narratives of our family members, our friends, and to lose sight of ourselves, and to even forget what our own voice sounds like, our spiritual voice, to lose connection with our intuition. We don't even know when it's trying to alert us or to warn us or to guide us, because we're not in sync with it, because we've taken on the world. We're covered up in worldly debris. And so in a season of shedding that, in a journey of shedding that, it's so important to start to refamiliarize yourself with who you are, because the world will reflect back onto you. When you're in your relationships, right? Your friendships, and whatever situation, being around people, everyone is a mirror. It's important to know when someone is projecting onto you and when it is of you, right? And when you're projecting onto someone else. So be that placid body of water where you know your own depths, you know who you are. And that takes time, right? Especially if you've gone through a lot in your life where there's trauma, where there's insecurity, where there's pain, where there's betrayal, where there's hurt. And don't let there be any family trauma or generational trauma, right? It can be so hard reconnecting yourself to yourself. But know that it's possible, it will happen. That is your alchemy. Transformation is your alchemy. Being able to transmute energy is your alchemy. So you will return back to yourself. Know that you are home. You are a safe space to be. Know that you are enough. Know that you are worthy of whatever it takes to heal and to transform. And to know that with every season of life brings about new adversary, new challenges, new births, right? Births of life, whether it's creation of your art, whether it's creation in relationships, whatever it may be. In every season, there will always be a new version of yourself. It doesn't mean you need to always strive to be something or someone different, but know that it happens naturally, and that you are healing so long as you allow it in. And after that, you can just be, but allow yourself to be healed. Ask for that healing, and then be, because you will transform. You will transcend beyond the hurt, beyond the betrayals, beyond the disappointments. You are not your failures. You are not your mistakes. You are of light. Believe in that. Believe in you. And seek the divine. And that's how you get clarity on who you are spiritually. Seek the very thing that created that. I love you. I appreciate you. And I pray that you see the light in you too.